Hey guys, welcome back. I have another video for you guys, and this is actually a cooking video. I'm going to be making Pancit Bihon. It's a Filipino dish. It's rice noodle stir fry. I don't know if many of you have tried it yet, but let's get started. I'm just gonna start off with showing you guys what the ingredients are. So this is the first one here. I'm using Mamacita's Pancit Bihon mix here. So the instructions are in the back. And then I do like to add the Chinese style sausage in it. This actually gives it more flavor. Some people don't add this, I do, only because I grew up on it and my family's always been adding this on their pancit. And then we do have carrots here, your whole onion. You're not gonna use the whole thing, but I'm probably gonna use half of it. And then I have a few cloves of garlic here. And then I do have my cabbage. I'm probably not gonna use the whole thing. I'll probably use half of it. And then most important thing is the rice noodles. And this one is from Orchids. So yeah, let's get started. So first off, we're gonna start by chopping up the onions here. I'm just gonna use half of this. So we wanna go ahead and cut it here, cut it in half. And I'm just using this big knife here only because it works better for me. So we want to go ahead and take off this part here. We don't want to add this in the pancit, so I'm going to go ahead and cut that part off. Cut the other end off as well. And then we want to go ahead and peel the brown skin. So we'll peel this here. And it's really simple. You just have to follow the instructions on the package, but if some of you are more visual learners, then this would be great for you, because I'm the same way. I'm a visual learner. So we want to go ahead and set this aside, and we'll go ahead and cut the onions here. And when you get parts like this here, the ends of the onions, go ahead and cut it off. So now you have your onions here, and you're just gonna set this aside. Set it aside, because you're gonna go ahead and stir fry that afterwards. And then now you're going to take your cloves of garlic. And you're going to want to go ahead and smash them. And then now you're going to want to dice them up, and be careful with your fingers. You don't want to accidentally cut them. Now you're going to take your carrots here. And you're going to cut them the long way, so you're going to want to go this way and cut them as thin as you can, because I know sometimes carrots are really hard to cook, and you don't want really huge carrots in your pancit. remember to cut this part off here. This part here you do not want in the pancit because this part here is really hard. It's like the stem area. So here I'm cutting it off just like that. And then I normally like to take the first leaf off only because sometimes there's dirt on it. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and thinly slice. So now you're gonna take your bag of pancit bihon noodles and you're gonna go ahead and open it up and put it into a container with cold water, not warm water. The warm water will actually cook it before you need it to be cooked. So I just have mine sitting in here. You would leave it in here for about 15 minutes until they're soaked and soft. So you'll just set this aside. So now I have my defrosted chickens here. They're little wings. I'm using this type of chicken because I like the type of meat that this is, and it gives my base or my soup that comes out of it more flavor, the broth. What I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna shred these off the bone. So now you're gonna go ahead and transfer all the chicken to the pot here. So here's my 2 cups of water here. And you're gonna go ahead and add it in there. And you actually want the water to be covering all the chicken, but since this is not covering, I'm gonna go ahead and add another cup or maybe a cup and a half. So here's another cup and a half. And just pour it in there until all the chicken's covered. And now you're ready to put this on the stove. So once your chicken is done boiling, you want to go ahead and transfer it over to another pot or another bowl to go ahead and let it cool down. We're going to let it cool down before we knead it. So before we actually shred them, we're going to let them cool down. And then we'll shred them at the point when we need to saute our garlic, our onion, and our veggies. And at that point, when you shred them, they're actually going to cook more in the pot. So go ahead and set this aside. And then now you are actually left with your pot here. You have your chicken broth here. So with this chicken broth, we actually want to take 2 cups of this, and we are going to mix it with the pancit bihon mix here. So what we're going to do is we're going to transfer some over into our measuring cup here. So it gets a little bit messy, so it's up to you how you want to do it. You can pour it in, but I know for sure my pot is going to spill. So I'm just going to transfer it over like this, and we're going to do 2 cups. And you want to make sure you don't go over the 2 cups because then you don't want your noodles to be wet. And that's the last thing you want. You don't want any wet noodles. So now that you have your liquid here, go ahead and open your packet here. And just pour it in. So we want to go ahead and dissolve this in here. So we're going to take a fork and mix it. So just take a fork, mix it, dissolve it. So we'll let it heat up. And be sure to have your pot not at high. We want it to go ahead and be medium heat here. So you're gonna let it sit for a little bit, and then the first thing you're gonna add would be your onions. So you're just waiting on your onions here. So once they look limp, you can go ahead and start adding your garlic here. So you go ahead and add your garlic. Make sure your fire's not too high. You don't want to burn the onions or the garlic. So now you can go ahead and add your Chinese sausages and also your shredded chicken. So you're gonna let that sit for a little bit, and while you're doing that, go ahead and start draining your noodles that you left in the water. So once you're done cooking your Chinese sausages and your chicken, go ahead and add your 2 cups of Mamacita's pancit mix. And you want to go ahead and get that to a boil, so go ahead and put your heat up. Get your heat up. So now that your broth is boiling, go ahead and add your carrots and your cabbage. I know it looks a lot right now in the pot, but you gotta remember that vegetables shrink after a while. So we're gonna wanna cook this for at least 2 minutes. So stir them in for 2 minutes. Now that you have your veggies cooked, go ahead and add your pancit. And start mixing. You have to remember that the pancit is going to soak up all the juice in here, so you got to constantly mix the pancit. So this is what the outcome should look like, and all the water should have dissolved by now after all the mixing you've done with the pancit. So this is my final product here. Some people like to eat it with lemon, or they drizzle lemon on top of it, but I don't. So yeah, this is your final product. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys found it helpful. Thumbs up if you did, and don't forget to subscribe.